morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Premarket Info.
Well, lots of earnings reports last night to talk about there, Joel. Google, IBM, Texas Instruments, AMD. And then this morning we've got McDonald's, Coach, United Technologies, Abbott Labs as well. And then tonight, Netflix and Apple. Start with Mickey D's here. This stock came out, reported $1.38 versus $1.33, about 7:55 Eastern. And the stock actually got a huge lift off the hop. These news algos, they overshoot so much. Believe it or not, this thing ticked up to 96.41.
Yeah, we just were talking about stupidity with no liquidity.
No, that's exactly what it is. I mean, there is no liquidity in these things, even in a McDonald's in the pre-market, because everybody's sitting back waiting to see what the earnings are. So all of a sudden, if somebody gets excited when they come out on the initial report, if somebody's got some algorithm running, the thing can have a ridiculous print. It printed up to 96.41. It's traded pretty actively up in the 94 handle, and then just turned around and started selling off. We actually are up 30 cents. They did beat by the nickel, but the comps for January were negative, and that wasn't expected. So I think that's why it's not getting as much of a lift as it initially did.
Yeah, just one thing to note for our traders about the pre-market activity. Obviously, we mentioned the stupidity without liquidity. So a lot of times exiting positions is a lot better idea. Perhaps if you were long the Mickey D's for a long period of time and you had a target. Well, hey, in the pre-market, stick your order out there at 95.5 or whatever, if that's your target, if that's your point. If you get it and it goes all the way to 96.41 and comes back down, you don't care because you used it. You did your analysis, you did the trade, and you got out. As opposed to trying to buy into that news, you're going to get crushed. But just to go quickly on the technicals on Mickey D's, you got to kind of throw out that 96.41 level. Yeah, go back to that 94 area. I'll still use that as resistance. Coming back on the downside here. 92.95 was the close. That would be minor support. So needs to hold there in order to continue the rally.
Yeah, if for any reason this thing starts to rally in the regular session here, you're right, Joel. You got the double top up there from September and October where we were floated around that 94 area. That is still huge. I don't care that it printed through there in the pre-market. That 94 level is going to be big during the regular session. Obviously, on the pullback, I would look to yesterday's low of 91.81. You got to think there'd be pretty decent support down there. It seems to be consolidating. The last 5 or 7 minutes trade in this 93 area, so it's trying to find its range here. They obviously beat the negative comps, so it's kind of trading flat, but man, somebody that bought it up there really got killed.
Just final note on Mickey D's here. Double bottom there at the 91.81.85 level. So if that's what that's your parameter, that's a good number on the downside.
Let's talk about Google from last night because it is up substantially here in the pre-market. Obviously got a huge lift there last night. They beat 1065 against estimates 1042. Stock trading up at 736 right now. How high did that get there after hours last night?
It got to 740.98, believe it or not.
It always these things go right to where they have the major resistance. You had 3-4 tops right in that area from early January, 742, 745. So call that whole area 740. Major resistance up there.
Yeah, took a little flyer on this one on the 750 calls. I was a little bit bummed at myself when we got up to this 745 level last week and pulled back, and it just seemed like everyone was dumping ahead of the head of the earnings, and took a shot at them. Love to see it get back to 741, 742, or those 3 tops where I think that might cap the rally today, and then you have the high at 745. So the Googster is definitely opening up into major resistance.
Yeah, when they do open up into major resistance, you've got to watch that opening action. If it starts to cave, if it doesn't get through that major resistance off the hop and starts to cave, I'd get real concerned because obviously we're up 33 points here, so there's a lot of air below, and we know there's a little bit of resistance above, so there might be a little setup there for an early short if the thing starts to roll over.
Yeah, 740.98 pre-market high. Just a note on the downside, 733.60 is where we just ticked. So a break below that 733.60, and I don't see a lot of support in this issue.
IBM trading up
Woohoo!
significantly, obviously adding a lot to the Dow here probably this morning as well. It's up $8. They beat 539 against estimates of 525. Their guidance for the full year was great. They're saying they see at least 1670. Estimates were down at 1663. So this is a great lift here for IBM. What's the pre-market high on this one?
205.
205. Nice
Yeah, we're
round
not too
number.
far from there. We were talking about IBM on yesterday's show. You had such a period of consolidation between the 190 and the 195 area. You had that for over a month. Broke out yesterday. Lo and behold, breaks out and settles on the high of the day. I wonder if anybody had a good feeling about the Beamer numbers. But anyways, that initial surge took us up to the 205 level. You have major consolidation since then. Since making that 205 low, you have a 205 high, you have a 203.50 low. So if playing it from the long side, you break below this 203.50, you might want to have an exit strategy. Had to really scramble to do the numbers on the upside here to get a resistance level. Major resistance here after the 205 is at 209.47. And believe it or not, that would fill a gap that it had when it announced earnings the last quarter.
I like that 205 number. Nice round number. We had that low back in October, almost on the button at 205.05. So I think you do get some initial resistance in the high 204s, as you probably see some high freaks leaning on that 205 level. UTX also reporting here this morning. Stock trading up a bit, 50 cents. They beat by a penny, $1.04 against estimates of $1.03. The stock has ticked a bit higher here, while 88.05. $88 is where it's trading at right now. It is bid 88.01, and the best offer is up at 89.47. So you got a wide spread here on this one. I don't know if I see it opening much over 88 though.
Kind of in no man's land here. You do have a 88.05 high here in the pre-market. Look at yesterday's ranges here. We're breaking out above this 87.50 was the high yesterday. That was backed up by the previous day's high at 87.36. And then if you go back to March of 2012, you had an 87.50 high. So as long as we stay above 87.50, I think we're poised to go higher and perhaps test this old time. Now we got a ways to go, but keep an eye on that 87.50 level. If it doesn't hold that, we may give a little bit of this move back.
Disaster stock of the day is Coach,
Woohoo!
COH. Stock trading down over $9 here in the pre-market at 51.40. Basically going from the high of the last 3 months to the low of the last 3 months. If we go out to the technicals, you can see that low. We're trading below there actually at 52.20 on November 15th. We are below that at 51.40. They missed by a nickel, $1.23 against estimates of $1.28. They missed on revenue by it was $1.5 billion against estimates of $1.6 billion. So this stock under significant pressure here this morning.
A couple things to note here in the coach. One, Dennis, you obviously have not been going there very often. Two, when the news came out, you had a couple straight ticks, had a little volume trade at 55. But since it's traded 55, this thing has been straight down, 50.95 low in the pre-market. Good opportunity to cover short at 51. I don't know exactly. I'd be sticking my nose out to go long. You do have a reference point below that. You had a 50.74 low on August 3rd. And below that, the major low of the move, 48.24. I don't think we'll see that. But keep an eye on this $51 level. I expect that to be support. Coming back on the upside, I'd see 55 as major resistance.
Stock that's down in sympathy here is Tiffany's, which is TIF. Stock just trading down about $1.30 here. Obviously, it's pair trade. It does move. Similar chart formation to the coach. It was rounding up there at 64, starting to look toppy.
Yeah.
Boom, obviously falling down here this morning on the coach earnings. So keep an eye on this one. I'd expect some relative weakness here during the regular session as well.
Surely not the kind of volume that you're getting in coach. Obviously, it's the secondary stock on the news. You did get a tick down at 61.47 in the pre-market. That will be minor support. Going on the charts, you have to look to 60.75, which was the low on the 15th of the month. If you're looking to perhaps bring a short in on this stock, the low on the day before that was 60.30. So support 60.30 to 60.75. Coming back on the upside, I'm sure some people would like to see it get back up to yesterday's low, 62.50 to let some stock go.
Texas Instruments reported last night too. Stock actually beat by a couple of cents here, but they see earnings for the next quarter at 24 cents to 32 cents, and estimates were up at 34. So the stock is trading down 46 cents on that news at 33 bucks even.
Some of them must have liked the initial news because it popped up to 34.03.
Yeah, they read the top line and they say, "Oh, they beat." The algorithm does, and then they buy it, and then they're like, "Oh, but the guidance is bad," and then they sell it. These things seem to overshoot almost all the time now in the pre-market or after hours. So there's actually trades there too, obviously, but you've got to be just careful, like we said before on the McDonald's. You don't want to be going with the flow sometimes on these because they do sometimes reverse course.
Right, which this did after hitting 34.03, nosedive to 32.76. It's kind of rebounded now, consolidating around the $33 level. Just keep an eye on this $33 level. You had two lows, 33.02, 33.13. Can't hold the $33 level, then I think they'll construe this news as negative. Coming on the upside, if we get anywhere near the double top, which has been the high of the move, 33.47 to 33.54. I expect offers to come out of the woodwork.
AMD reported earnings last night too. They missed by, or actually they beat, but they beat earnings. They lost 14 cents. They were supposed to lose 20. So I guess that's got the stock up 3 cents, but I'm not getting real excited here. It is a good technical formation though. You got that double bottom 243 from the last couple of days. Obviously you want to see that hold. If that 243 was to give way, there's not much until you get to the low of just from 2 weeks ago at 234.
Do they ever make money?
No, well, that's
I
why
never
it's
think
$2
I've heard
stock.
of a company that just loses money every freaking quarter and doesn't go to zero.
It doesn't go to zero.
That's my
Well,
only comment.
nothing goes straight to zero here. You can look at the monthlies and you can say, well, it still looks like the road to zero because back in '06 we were trading up at 42 bucks. Now we're down at $2.45. So the road to zero is still there. It's just probably a matter of when it gets there or if it gets bought out or something. But yeah, this company just not much to get excited about here. Moving on, I guess you don't want to do a technical on that one. Netflix NFLX reports tonight. Nice trend line going there I've drawn for you, but 97.51 is trading down 30 cents here in the pre-market. What do you think of this Netflix? It's had a hell of a move back from October when Icon obviously disclosed his position. We're up, over 50% from when Icon started talking about the stock. Is it going to continue here tonight after the earnings, or are they going to disappoint?
Next time Carl Icahn comes out with something, man, I'm gonna do one of those generational trades. You take all your money, all your family's money, all your family's friends' money, and you put it in there.
Mortgage your house, do everything you can.
Exactly. Strong, good trading tactics. I tell you, if I've been holding on to this stock since the last earnings announcement, I think that I would definitely be looking for an exit strategy or trying to hedge the stock. It's had a major run. They always seem to disappoint one way or another. If they don't have as many new subscribers or whatever. So looking at the parameters from yesterday, stayed under the $100 level. I think that 99.65 to 100 would be good resistance. If this thing took out 95.75, I would definitely want to exit.
I'd be nervous too if I was sitting on a 50-60% gain and then all of a sudden the earnings are coming up. It actually wouldn't surprise me if you've seen a little bit of relative weakness today just ahead of that, as people that are sitting on gains maybe get nervous and don't want to take it into the report tonight. So we'll be interested to see where it trades. Apple, that's your big gun. It is reporting tonight. It is trading up $1 here in the pre-market at 506. What is Apple going to do here, Joel?
I don't know. I'm kind of leaning toward the long side here in it. You have the double bottom, 96.40 and 96.63. That's 13 points above the low of the move. They're still selling their phones. think they're still going to have good earnings. I think this could be one of those opportunities where the stock opens up 30 or $40, and you're going to kick yourself out. You could have bought it at 500 all day long. If I was using that strategy, you do have to give yourself a little bit of room. 483.38 has been the low of the move. And I also am kind of thinking even if they come out and disappoint and they whack it 30, 40 points, I think people are going to come in and buy it too.
I definitely think that. I think if they come out and they disappoint and the stock goes down 25 or $30, I think you're going to find buyers. I think you're going to find bottom pickers coming in, and it wouldn't surprise me if it opens the next day near the lows and starts to rally up after that. So I do think the exact same thing. I think if it disappoints, I think it eventually does find a bid somewhere lower and start to rally back up. Obviously, if they beat, I think sentiment's been pretty bad on this lately. So if they beat handily or announce anything like an increase or a buyback or anything like that, or I think you'll see the stock get a good lift off it. If for whatever reason it really gets a lift, we know where resistance is. It's pretty well defined up there in the 550 area.
Yep.
You've had multiple highs up there. That is 45 points up from here, but we know these things can move 40, 50 points on an earnings report. It's really, consolidated, like you were saying, for the last 4 or 5 days. The range has been 7, 8 points. Everybody is squaring their positions. Expect more of that today, and then obviously we'll see what happens after the bell. Everybody will be watching this one.
Okay, just to close out the show, I just want to mention a couple levels in the Big Ten here. Mr. Softy, this $27 level, huge support. We've had 4 consecutive lows in that area. Got beat up a little bit yesterday when they talked about being involved in the Dell merger, whatever. But still, you're playing this on the short side or looking to initiate long. That 27 level is key. And then also Procter and Gamble, that good old stodgy stock.
$70 is huge.
Yeah, $70. 5 out of 6 lows there. The high freaks probably won't be there on the open. We did close near that level, so doesn't have too far to take it out. Also, if you're looking to short this thing at the $70 level and at 70 gets taken out, don't be afraid to reinitiate if it comes back down under 70, as all those high freaks that bought the 70s are going, unless they're going to get their instant, 10 cents, they'll be hitting the exit button as well.
70 absolutely huge. I do have a position on in Procter and Gamble. Obviously, I'm looking at that 70 level as my key bogey there too. Starts to break out over there. It gets interesting, obviously, but you got to be really careful if you're shorting this thing at 69.90s, just because it can go so quickly. So when you get to the regular session there, if you're short this stock off that 70 level, do not miss the 70s, because this thing could be at 70.20, 70.30 in a heartbeat. Obviously, it all depends on how fast that offer goes too. We've been talking about 70. There's like 300,000 shares there, been sitting there forever. Every high frequency trader has been leaning on them for the last 4 or 5 days. But if they just start pecking away at it and everybody all of a sudden gets long, then the thing usually tanks. So it's all about which side the traders are on. Right now they're short leaning on it, so if it went in one mighty blow, all those shorts would be caught. But if it goes slowly and they all peck away at that $70 offer during the regular session, then all of a sudden everybody gets long and the stock tanks. So
or he could cancel.
Well, I don't think he's canceling. He's been there for 4 or 5 days, so he doesn't seem too keen on canceling. So it seems to be like every point on this thing, there seems to be another 100 or 200,000 share offer. It's probably some major institutions just lightening up, and every point it goes up, they want to dump another 100 or a couple 100,000 shares. You probably got a couple institutions there because it's such a big number. $70, such a key number. We haven't been there for a month and a half, so they're looking at that level to lighten up their overall portfolio, and that's what the high frequency traders do. They find institutional size and they lean on it, and that's what you've seen the last 4 or 5 trading sessions, is they're just leaning on it. And that's why you see this muted volatility too, because they're leaning on the 70 and then they're throwing out their bids of 69, 93, 92, 91 and covering. So those bids, those high frequency bids, actually give support. So you have the high frequencies basically just scalping 5, 6 cents all day long between 96, 97 and 91, 92. So they're in there making their few cents. That's how they roll, and that's what the world we're in.
Okay, all right. The Spoos have matched yesterday's high at 91.50. We've pulled back a little bit. Probably got a little bit too much juice in the premium in the after hours. I do like this 1485 number. That's low. I'll be keen on that. If we break down below that level, I look for the market to give a little bit back today, perhaps down to the 1479 level. And keep an eye on the double top, 1491 quarter to 1491 and a half.
That's our show for today. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow.